Hi guys, this is Vixxstarr and this is the finished product of the Extra Frilly Fruit Loops bracelet that I'm going to show you how to finish off today. Okay, so this is how I decided to finish it off, with a short extension of the knotted edge bracelet by Rainbow Loom SG. So to begin with, let me just say, obviously this bracelet is very much inspired by the techniques that I learnt doing the knotted edge bracelet that I shared the link in my previous tutorial. I will also share that again down below. That is by Jace Alvarez, and this is basically a mashup of my Frilly Fruit Loops with Rainbow Loom SG's knotted edge. And I have done a little bit there as the extension with a little bow on it just to make it look cute, and I've attached a bead down the end here so we can clip it up just using that extension to slip it straight through, and that's what we've got. So I hope you like it. I hope you can sit through my rambling and learn a couple new fantastic techniques and get your inspiration bubbling. So without any further ado, let's move on and we'll go back to what this bracelet looked like before I put this frilling on. Hi guys, this is Vixxstarr, and in my last tutorial I showed you how to make the Frilly Fruit Loop bracelet, my Frilly Fruit Loop bracelet. I left you with this basically. So in this video I'm going to show you initially how to extend it, because as you can see we made this on one loom and it only just fits around my wrist. I do have quite a small wrist really, but we're going to need pretty much another bracelet the same size to fit around, almost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to extend it using the same pattern if you only have one loom. I will lay my bands out the same as I did for this one and then attach it on, but instead of doing the whole bracelet, the whole extension as the same bracelet, I will be leaving about this much of the end, so I'll do enough for it to come around to about there, and then the last bit, which will end up being in the middle, I'm going to do the knotted edge as an extension. But I'm going to keep applying the basic chain, and then once I've pulled it off we will make it extra frilly and we will turn it into something that looks like this. And at the end we will have a little bit of an extension. So it's up to you if you want to finish it with just the bracelet of the Frilly Fruit Loops, or if you would like to put an extension. It's totally up to you. I'll show you how to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'll start laying out my bands, and I'm just going to fast forward through the bit that you should already know that I taught you in the first video. So I've got the coloured bands that I need. Like I said, I'll just be following on from the bracelet that we started, so I'll keep going with the same colour combination, and I'm just going to do another round. So basically from the green to the orange again. I'm going to lay that out on my loom as I would just starting a new bracelet. So I will do that with my clear bands and my coloured bands, and I'll fast forward through. And I've just realised that I need to turn my loom around the opposite way so that the arrow is actually pointing towards me, because we are going to attach the bracelet back on here the way that we did it before. It was that side up, so we're going to have to do that again. And we're going to start from the second pegs up. Okay, so I'm going to lay that out like I normally would. I'm going to go clear to my right, clear to my left, and then pop the cap band over the top in the middle, single band around twice, and I'm just going to follow on with that combination to the end. When I get to the end I'll come back to you. Okay, so I've just laid out those bands. I've just got another lap of that pattern. The next center peg up, we're going to place clear band just from that peg to the next, or I'll be using clear because I'm going to do the extension here and I want it to follow on from there. So once we loop up, you can do this on your hook. We're just going to be doing the chain, which will be the center of the knotted edge bracelet. That is Rainbow Loom SG's design. Now that we've got that, I want to join the other half that we started with of our bracelet. This is what we finished with at the end, with the C-clip holding that center clear and the two outside clear. So that's the side that was facing upwards. So we're going to place it down. We're going to put that orange center for me over that one, and we're going to place that clear, which is actually the second one from the top in the middle, over that center as well, just to hold it there. And we're going to pull out that last clear center. So what I'll do is I'll remove that C-clip, show you what we got. We're going to take out that middle one, so just the one that's looped around the end orange. Just going to take that out. I'm going to place the orange down the bottom on this last peg, as well as that clear that's there. Alright. And I have just accidentally unlooped that side clear, but it doesn't really matter, because if you can reach up through that last one and grab it from the front when it wants to play, there we go, bring it back up and attach it to those side pegs just for now, just to make sure that we have got all of those bands. Okay, that's what it should look like. We've removed that last center clear that was attached to the orange, and I've just placed those last ones there. These side clears are actually going to go over the top of them, but not yet. We want to actually start looping those out first. So we'll reach in behind, for me it's the green, grab the top clear, go back under, grab the next clear, and then slip knot them. I'm going to go through and fast forward. I'm going to do the same thing all the way up to the end of the colour. Okay, so I have looped and slip knot all those with the coloured caps after mucking around with that purple one, and now I want you to remove those bottom ones and place them up. So I'm going to put it down, grab the bottom one, probably even with your finger, and just place it up onto the peg above it. This one I've got here was a bit twisted, so I'll fix that. So that's what we've got, right? Now we're going to do just like we normally would. Grab that bottom band and place it on the peg above. Grab the bottom band, place it on the peg above. All the way up. Bottom band, peg above. Doesn't matter that I just lost that one. And the last one, which for me is the orange, I'm going to take it and I'm just going to move it around and place it above. So you can flip it. It might actually look a little bit better in the design. I'm going to keep going and do the exact same thing with the opposite side. Just grabbing that bottom band and placing it up on the peg above, not flipping it. And that last one, we'll grab it and we'll flip it and we'll place it up into the center. Okay, so now we've got that loomed up to that point and we've just got to do our chain on the end. What I want you to do is carry on with that center stitch in the middle. So we'll grab that clear that we put on the last peg, that one there, and I'm going to follow on like I would, grabbing a clear band, placing my hook through the top of that fruit loop and then through the bottom of the next, pull a clear band through and slip knot it through all the bands on our hook, and going back through, for me, the green again and back up the blue, grabbing a clear band, pulling it through. So we're just carrying on the pattern of the bracelet and slip knotting it back up through the blue, top of the blue and the bottom of the purple, clear band, slip knotting it through, well, slipping it through, then slip knotting through everything on my hook, back up through the purple. My pink has popped off, but you can see that that is the bottom there, yes. Grabbing a clear, feeding it through, slip knotting off, grabbing the top of that pink, the bottom of the orange, pulling a clear band through, slip knotting that first band through all of those, and then the last orange, just going straight through the top of that orange, grabbing a clear band, pulling it through the orange and slip knotting it through the two clears, placing the end up on that middle one there. So we've got the last clear bands are all lay on top of that starting chain. Now we're going to loom the chain up. So reaching through those three and just grabbing that bottom clear for me, looming it up onto itself. Okay, so we just looped up from that last one of the design to the next, and I realised that the way I'd laid my bands out, obviously they were not going to hold together. So I've just left it there and I've just pulled those other bands off. I want you to grab those bands on your hook and remove your complete design off your loom. Give it a stretch out and it should blend in with the rest of the design. So at the end here, what I want you to do is just with those two bands, we're just going to chain by finger, so pulling a band through, reclaim. I'm using the bands I pulled off my loom, pulling a band through, reclaim, pulling a band through, reclaim, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I might just go 5 for now, and I'm going to put a C-clip on the end, and then I'm going to remove it, my hook, and just give it a stretch out so all the bands can become comfortable. Give it all a bit of a stretch and a tweak. Okay. Just try and let the frills be frilly. Flip back around so that they're not twisted. And that's the side that I would normally wear up. I wouldn't normally wear it with the stitching on the top, but it's completely up to you. Mine looks nice and messy at the moment, but once you get your bands comfortable, they will settle down. So now we are going to do the outside frills. Choose the colours that you want to do your outside frilling. So with this one I used the same colours as I did for my inside Fruit Loops. So for this one I might just do the same thing because I do like those Sweets collection colours. I think they will look really cute. The pastel-y frills with the glitter. So I'll get my bands out and we're going to start from the bottom end. We're going to work our way up. You don't need your loom now. That's done. Just your hook and your bracelet. So it's up to you whether you want to make it so that your stitching is the knotted edge is facing upwards on this side. If you can see, the slip knots there are all facing up. On this side the slip knots are all facing down, so it does look like a little bit more frillier. It's completely up to you. So if you want the slip knots to be facing up on this side with the stitching, then we will be attaching the border with it this side up. If you want it to be looking more like that on this side, does that make sense? See the two sides, the left is done with the slip knots facing down and the right is done with them facing up, so it's slightly different. So today I'm going to be doing it with the slip knots facing, how did I do it on this one? We did it with our slip knots facing down with that stitching, so all of our slip knots are down that way on our clear bands. So I might do it facing up, so it's the opposite, so it'll look like they're floating a little bit more, I hope. Yeah, so my stitching is going to look like that, and I'm going to use the colours that I used for my Fruit Loops, and I'm going to start with purple like the last Fruit Loop, and I'm going to attach my first couple of bands, or my first band I'm going to attach to the right of the centre clear, so the band that we looped up the centre, you can see that there. I'm going to split it, and on this side, because I am right-handed, so I'm going to go down this side first, I'm going to slip my hook through those first two clear bands there. I'm going to pull a purple through, reclaim it, slip knot it, alright, and then I'm going to switch my hook around so it's actually that way, so the slip knot's facing on the top and my hook has gone directly through the middle of it. So then I'm going to go up into the next clear, which will be that first teardrop here, which is that band that runs up next, and I'm going to pull another purple, because for my pattern I'm going to do 2 of each colour. So then I will slip knot, I've pulled that purple through there, I will slip knot that purple, and then I'm going to switch my hook around so that it's gone straight through the top instead of facing through the bottom. See, initially it was like that, and I've pulled it out and placed it that way. So then we can slip that one through that one and go on to the next. So that's our first 2 bands stitched into those 2 and then into the first teardrop. So I'm going to put another one in that first teardrop, but I'm going to switch to pink. So I've just put my hook up through the bottom again, pull a pink through, reclaim it, slip knot the pink without losing it, and then switch your hook from back to front in the pink band and then slip it through the purple. Now we're going to go to the next teardrop up, grab those 2 there, pop another pink through, reclaim it, slip knot it, switch your hook around, making sure that your band isn't twisted, and then pulling through. Same notch, so same teardrop, going for an orange, pulling the orange through, reclaim, slip knot the orange, switch your hook from back to front, slip it through the pink, onto the next notch. So as you can see, that's my pattern. I'm going into each teardrop and I'm putting 2 bands and I'm switching colours, so I'm doing 2 of the same colour. Once we've finished, the bands will all come into shape and it'll fill in that space quite nicely. But here's another thing, if you want to modify it and make it extra frilly, it's completely up to you. You can go in and slip another band in that gap. It will just make a slightly bigger hole there, but it will make your edging even more frillier. So I mean, it's totally up to you guys. This is what I'm trying to do, is just make your inspiration, you know, fly free. So I'm hoping you've kind of got what I'm doing, but I'll show you again. I'm going to stay with orange. I'm going to go to the next 2 bands on the edge, that next teardrop. I'm going to pull an orange, pull it through and reclaim it, slip knot just that orange, switch your hook from back to front, pull band through, still through the same teardrop, changing to green, which is my next colour of my Fruit Loop, pulling a band through, slip knot, switch from back to front, and pulling through the orange. Going to the next one up, pulling another green, pulling it through and reclaim, slip knot that green band, and then pulling it through. Same teardrop there on the side, going for a blue, pulling the blue through, slip knotting the blue, switching my hook from back to front, pulling it through. Up through the next, going for purple again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep doing this, pulling the purple through, slip knotting, switching hook from back to front and pull through. I'll follow it all the way up until I get to the end. I'm just going to fast forward so you guys can keep watching me in faster time. When I get to the end where my extension is, I will stop and I will go up with that extension with you. Okay? Like I said, that's how it's turning out with the slip knots on the top. If you want to have it so that that edge, the slip knots look a little bit frillier, you will actually be stitching this side up. So then when you flip it over, the side without the stitching will look like that. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I actually stop at the end and I go back down to the bottom, so both sides will be mirrored and they will look exactly the same. But like I said, it's completely up to you how you want to do it. I hope you have got that pattern. If not, just rewind and watch again. We're just repeating it all the way up the bracelet. So I'm going to keep going and I'm going to fast forward and I'll talk to you again in a moment. Okay, so I've gotten up to the last ring for me, which is orange. I put in the first stitch of orange, which is in the last edge teardrop. So the next band is the one that joins up to the middle to our extension chain. So what I want to do is put my next orange into the stitch of that band. So I'll pull the orange through. Slip knot the orange, switch and thread. Now we're going to go on and keep doing that same colour scheme. So after orange I've got the green, so I'm going to slip that into the same one. I'm going to go green just through that same clear, slip knot it and reclaim. Next we're going to move up to the chain. So find your chain where basically it's folded over. So when we get to the end, we're going to be sealing the end up. So if you twist it, it needs to be facing that way. So the first band is kind of crisscross. We're going to grab the two outside so that when we get up to the end, we're closing it off. Sorry, I'm not very good at holding in front of the camera today. Do you get what I mean? So look at where your chain starts, that first band that joins those three. Twist it. Doesn't matter either way if you go left or right, but you have to keep to that direction. So I'm going to go from the left side up to the center. I will just grab those two outside bands, you can see, and I'm going to do the green again. Green, slip knot, switch and pull through. Then the next one on the chain is going to be, I'm going on to blue, so I'm just going to go keeping the chain the same direction, that way, blue, and I'm just going to switch to single now. So I'm going to slip knot, switch and pull through. Going on to the next one of the chain, my next colour is going to be purple. Slip it through, slip knot, switch and pull through. Still just making sure your chain's going the same direction. The next part of the chain is going to be pink. Pull one pink through, slip knot, switch and pull through. And my last one, this is where I'm closing it up and you can see it's attached to the C-clip. We're going to go through the two bands. Going to go orange, pull it through, slip knot it, switch and slip through the pink. So then I'm going to get that orange, that last band, and slip it onto that C-clip. If you find the next step that I'm going to show you too hard, you don't have to put your C-clip here. You can actually just keep hold of that orange band, go in through that end one and pop a couple more stitches in there, maybe two, so that there's three instead of one or two. Make it so there's three, so it rounds it off, and you can keep stitching straight up the next side and just follow on with stitching up there. The only difference will be is that your teardrops that are running down the edge, your frill, will be running the opposite direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that C-clip there holding that edge, relieve a little bit of the tension in the bands, so like pull on your slip knots a little bit and they will start to find their comfy shape. You can see how long your bracelet is going to be now. So now we're going to do the exact same thing, but this is testing you a little bit, because to have it perfectly mirrored, I'm going to start from the bottom. So last time we were working from the bottom up, that side, I'm going to have to flip it. So I'm actually working from that side down. It's a little bit more tricky, it's going to test you, but it's good to be able to do things back to front sometimes, make it a lot easier when you are doing hook only designs on a bigger scale. Okay, so we flipped our bracelet around, we're going to put a stitch through those two clear there, so we're going to mirror the other side so it looks exactly the same. Teardrops will be running down the opposite side the same way. And grabbing a purple, pulling the purple through those two bands and reclaiming it. We want to slip knot it so that it's the same as the opposite side, so it looks mirrored. So what we want to do is actually hold those bands, pull your hook out, go in through that one and pull the opposite one through. So once you've pulled it through, you can see it's actually mirrored to that side. Then grab your hook and go in through the top there so you can see that slip knot, and we've got that band. So we're going to go on with the pattern. We're going to go into the first teardrop there with another purple band, pull it through, reclaim it, slip knot it as normal, and then do our switch with our hook from back to front, and then slip it through the purple. See, it's a little bit tricky, but if you can get this, then that will broaden your range as well with your skills. So going back up through that same stitch, grabbing a pink, pulling it through, reclaiming, slip knotting, switching our hook back to front, and slipping pink through purple. Then moving on to the next stitch, grabbing pink, pulling it through, reclaim and slip knot, switching our hook back to front and slipping through the pink. So next is same stitch with an orange, pulling it through and reclaiming, slip knotting, switching our hook from back to front and pulling it through. So when we're switching our hook from back to front, you know, we're just grabbing it from the top of the band instead of behind the band, so we're making that edge face one way. It's not a huge issue if you muck that around. It is going to look frilly, so you know, if you're not as much of a perfectionist as me, then it doesn't matter. But yeah, that's what it should be looking like. I'll do a few more with you in this formation. So on to the next with an orange, pull through, reclaim, slip knot, switch hook and slip. Same teardrop going with a green, pull it through, reclaim it, slip knot it, switch your hook back to front and slip it green through orange. Onto the next teardrop with a green, pulling the green through, reclaiming, slip knotting that green, switching your hook back to front and slip stitching. So I'm going to keep going with that same pattern all the way up till I get to the end there where we are finishing with that knotted edge extension, and we'll finish it off together. I'll keep going and I'll put it in fast forward, and you may need to pause and catch up, and I'll see you at the end. Okay, so I've just done the last pink for me, so I've still got to put an orange through that one there. That's the last stitch off the teardrops before it joins to the 3 together there. So the next one's going to be an orange, and like I said, we're mirroring what we did on the other side, leaving that clear band down the middle. It's easier this time because we've already stitched off that side, so it's made it prominent for which side we're going for. So in through that one there with the 2 pieces of band, bringing an orange through, reclaiming, slip knotting it, switching your hook back to front and pulling it through. Next I'm going to put a green because I'm mirroring it in the same gap, because I'm mirroring the other side, so I'll go green, pull it through and reclaim it untwisted, slip knot it, switch your hook, slip it through, and now we're going to go up to the first lot of the chain. So this is going to have a little twist in it, but that's fine. Just grab the bands that are left that weren't hooked last time, pull the band through, reclaim, slip knot, switch your hook back to front and slip through. Going on to the next is going to be blue for me. Now we're just doing 1 in each, so pulling a blue through, slip knotting it, switching our hooks around and slip stitching onto the next purple, pulling it through, slip knotting, switching my hook and slip stitching. Next one's pink, so pulling a band through, slip knotting, switching and slip stitch, and the last one is the orange there. Grabbing the orange. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure this up to my hand and see how long it is, because I have a feeling that I've gone well and truly far enough. So I'm just going to, yeah, that should actually work out quite good. So, pardon me for stopping what I was doing, slip stitching and slip knotting, switching, so that last orange is done. Now we can just grab the 2. We don't need that C-clip anymore unless you want to keep using it. That clear in the middle has been closed up nicely, and we've just got the 2 orange there. So what you can do if you want to do something cute, you can tie them into a little bow. You can tie like a little charm or something on there if you want, but that's actually, those holes there is what I'm planning to use to put my bead through. So I'm going to attach a bead to this side. I'm going to attach it right about where the orange is, and I'm going to use the orange roundabouts to hook onto that bead there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn that into a little bow or something. So what I might do is I'll grab 2 orange bands between my fingers, not flick them like I just did. 2 orange bands between my fingers like so. I am going to pull both of those bands through those 2 bands. It's a bit of a stretch, but through like so. Then I am going to pull that through and then pull the other 2. So sorry, I'll go a bit slower. I've pulled it through the bottom, in under there, and now I'm going to grab both of those. So off my finger, pull them through. Release from your fingers, pull it nice and tight, and there is my cute little bow. I know that was probably really hard to follow, it's kind of hard to show, but I just basically slip knotted that little bow on the end there, so it's just dangly and cute. Now when you pull your bands out and you pull on those slip knots and you fluff it around so that it looks nice and frilly, it'll blend in a lot more. So that is what my bracelet looks like without fluffing it around too much. Ta-da! And there is that wonderful knotted edge extension, pretty much there, that I have mashed in. So there's that little bow there. You can do whatever you want at the end here. Just flip that around. See, I've got that nice cute little bow poking through. It's ended up that bracelet there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bead. I'm going to attach it somewhere on here just with a slip knot. I'll show you how to do that right now, right before we finish, and that'll be our bracelet done. So I'm going to be super exciting, and I'm just going to use a clear bead. It's quite pretty though, it reflects nicely in the light when my camera wants to focus. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use clear bands. You don't have to use two, you can use one. It all depends what you can fit through the bead that you're using. This one I should be able to squeeze 2 bands through the middle, and I'm just going to do it that way because I want it to be a little bit stronger. So you've got a bit of wire or a bit of floss or something like that. You've threaded your bands on, and you're going to put the bead on that bit of wire or floss. You're going to thread it through both ends. Got another end here I need to push through. Okay, and if it's easier, pull your bands tight to relieve some tension when you're pulling and pinch the band, pull the bead on and slip that bit of line out. So there we've got that bead with the 2 bits of band poking out each side. I'm going to attach it onto this side of my bracelet. I'm going to put it between the orange and the green. I'm just going to grab my hook and I'm going to go through the gap on one side, come out the gap on the other. So I've actually hooked everything there. Okay, I've just nice and cleanly, I've just gone straight through one hole, over the top of everything, and straight through the other hole there. I'm going to pull one end of the bands through, so hook one end with the bands, hold the other end, pull it through, and bring it back. Don't lose your ball, because all we're going to do is just slip knot. So grab the other end, so you got your bead in the middle there, and slip knot that band over the top of the bead, like so. Now we're going to do the same with the other side, but we're going to go in from the opposite side. So get it off your hook. Go in from the opposite side, straight through the same hole, straight out the other one. Grab those bands, both on your hook. Pull it through and out again, holding that bead there. Slip that over the top of your bead, like so. Should be nice and tight. If it's not nice and tight, then twist it and double it over again. But that should be enough to secure your bead if your bead is big enough, like mine. Oh, I'm not sure exactly how big it is. I'm sorry. But just get it so it's sitting in the space that's in between the two. Keep going to say lifesavers because they look like lifesaver lollies as well. In between those, like so. Now you should be able to put it on your arm using your extension and just slip that bead through anywhere. And that's what we've got. Sorry, my light is shocking as usual, but there is the finished product. It's beautiful. thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope that you could sit through all my rambling today and my mishaps. Probably not many mishaps for you, but for me, I feel like I was making mistakes all over the shop. So yeah, please like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you are liking my mashup bracelets, or should I say if you're liking my new designs, my most recent and soon to come more mashup bracelets. So yeah, please like, subscribe, find me on Instagram and Facebook, and let me know what you think. Hashtag MishMashMutants, and I'll see you on Instagram. Bye. And just before you go, I just want to show you a closer look at this one. This is the first one that I made while I was making the design of the Frilly Fruit Loop bracelet. It's actually got overlapping figure 8s, double banded in the middle. It was all hook only. It was quite fiddly, but I do like the way it turned out. I ended up stitching down the opposite side in the same ladder stitch to keep the shape of those figure 8s. Initially I didn't really want to have to, but I think it still looks nice. And the frilling that I did was using the same technique, except in between, see, I've got one stitch that is a slip knot, and then I've got one that's not, and then I've got another one that is. So I've actually got 3 stitches in each of these side tiers instead of 2, and the middle one I haven't slip knotted. So there's something just a little bit different when you look at it compared. The side stitching actually crisscrosses back and forth, and I think that that looks really cool. So yeah, that's just showing you something a little bit different using the same sort of techniques. One looks quite straight running down, the other one does look that bit more frilly. So yeah, have an experiment. Show me what you come up with. Don't forget to tag MishMashMutants on Instagram so that I can see. Tag Vixxstar. And yeah, I will see you soon. Bye.